I've always said we're bringing 4 in here and we're leaving with 4. Everybody has to come home.
I am Lavareis Bryant.
I'm Becca, a mom of 6, but 4 of those at one time, and then a bonus child, so that makes us 7. We had the 3 kids and we're like, okay, we want 1 more. And so we tried and we tried. Find out we're pregnant. 6 weeks later, we have a miscarriage. And then the next cycle, I guess I should just take a test. And I do, and it's positive, and I'm like, oh, we're pregnant again. I just really didn't want to get super excited, but I also didn't want to let that miscarriage steal the excitement from what could be a healthy baby. So it comes in, do the ultrasound. The ultrasound tech is on my right, but I can't see her screen. And then my husband's standing on my left side and he can see her screen, but her face kind of changed and his face kind of changed. And I'm looking at both of them like, okay, something's wrong.
It's just one big spot, and then it was a little spot and a little spot. And I was like, oh crap, that's 3. But in the big one, it was like split down like in the middle wise. And she was like, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I mean, it was exciting and terrifying, and all we thought about all day was like 4 of this and 4 of this, we need 4 of that. And then it's also like, wait, but this is really high risk. I was like, oh my gosh.
This was an extremely rare situation to have quadruplets. The girls were identical twins and the 2 boys who were fraternal or non-identical twins. It's a very rare type of pregnancy.
Every appointment I was like excited to see the babies, but I was also scared that like something was gonna be wrong with somebody. I think I was around 20 weeks. They noticed that my cervix was starting to shorten. We're gonna admit you, and then they moved me up to like the high risk floor. Of course, with any pregnancy, you wanna get as far as you can. Our big goal was like 30, 32 weeks. I was 23 weeks and 3 days. I'm literally laying in the bed and my water just breaks. So from that moment until delivery, things moved very fast. Their goal still was like, I mean, just because your water broke doesn't mean we have to have these babies today. Whether that's 2 stay in, 2 get delivered, all of them stay, all get delivered, whatever the case is, like, we want to do the best that we can do. But then that night, I feel like I have a fever, and they're like, we think that you probably have an infection in utero, so we need to deliver now.
I was on call the night that the Bryant quads were delivered. We had a separate team for each baby, so we ended up with about 30 team members in the delivery room waiting for the Bryant quads to arrive.
Things just move really, really fast, and then all of a sudden, like, you look over and they're walking by with baby A at 2:15 in the morning, and then they just keep coming. So we actually did an emergency C-section, and they were all born within 5 minutes. 2:15, 2:16, 2:17, and 2:20.
Once we got there, got it delivered, I was able to kind of see each of them going out.
When babies are born extremely preterm, there are a lot of complications that can potentially arise. Their lungs are going to be very immature and very stiff. So all of the Bryant quads ended up being intubated and put on a ventilator, and they had 24/7 around-the-clock care.
I just remember walking in, got so much going on in this room for this little tiny person. It was really hard to come to terms with, like, they're on the outside and all of this stuff is fighting for them, and like, I don't get to do that anymore. They spent a very long time in the NICU. They faced a lot of challenges. They had like little lines in their belly for a central line and arterial line. And there was points where they had like a PICC line in their head with all these medications to keep them alive.
At one point, each of them ended up being quite unwell and needing really intensive care. It must have been a very difficult time for the parents to watch them be so sick. Initially, Callie actually became very sick when she developed a spontaneous hole in her intestines and needed to have a surgery.
She's 3 weeks old. It's like all of a sudden she just starts getting better. She gets her breathing tube out, never looks back. Hey.
Lainey developed a serious viral infection.
She got really, really swollen. She looked like a completely different baby. There was something that we tried that had only been tried for adults. And I don't know if that's what saved her from this virus, but she got better.
We know that boys can sometimes have a harder time than girls when they're born extremely preterm. So Lennon and Koen overall were sicker than their sisters.
Koen, there was some nights I was scared to leave the NICU or scared to go to sleep. And then Lennon has a PDA, and so then he has to have extra ventilator support. It definitely was really hard to have 4 babies in the NICU, having so many moments of being so sick and so close to losing them. I always said, we're bringing 4 in here and we're leaving with 4. Everybody has to come home. We've been in the NICU for months. Lainey was drinking her bottles, her sat was good, so she can discharge home. They're gonna be able to see the sunshine and feel like fresh air, things that, they've never done before. Callie gets discharged 2 days later. But then they're like, well, I think we could probably start talking about moving Koen to home oxygen settings. And that was really like, whoa. My little, fragile, just little baby that terrified me so many times is gonna go to home oxygen settings so we can go home. Lennon was our buddy that was just really struggling in the eating department. And so then we had to talk, do we do a G-tube or do we not? And we ended up going ahead. He had to also have a laser eye surgery and a hernia repair. And I was like, well, can we do the G-tube at the same time? Like, can we do it all in one surgery? And we ended up going ahead. About a week and a half after Koen was discharged, Lennon was discharged home. Within a month time frame, all 4 babies were discharged home. 2.5 weeks later, it was Christmas. We took our first insane family picture. That was a disaster, but everybody was in it. Everybody was home, nobody was in the hospital. Try to do normal baby, almost 1-year-old stuff the best that we can. They're great babies. They're silly and they're funny and they like to play and do stuff, and now we're just trying to do normal baby stuff. Thinking about like going to that ultrasound and finding out there's 4 babies and then they're high risk, and then we get admitted to UAB, and then my water breaks and we have these babies way too early. To all of those terrifying thoughts, see them go through all of this stuff and struggle so hard and have to fight so hard. But now they're home. Now we get to do their first birthday and think about outfits and smash cakes and fun, just 1-year-old stuff. Happy birthday to Lainey.
Just something different every day.